Hey guys, Alpha here. Gonna be doing a continued blind reaction to Elements of Justice, proceeding from about Case 2, Episode 7 Trial. I'm not sure if this is the final one or not. Maybe it is, who knows? We'll find out. I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Soon, now it's gonna be Black Friday coming up. Then December. And I've never been a fan of Christmas. Stressful holiday. I've been working most of those days anyway, so I don't care. So, just hope the winter goes through quickly. Never been a fan of winter, ever. But then I'm a driver, so I don't really like winter anyway. I like icy roads and deal with that stress. But then on the roads, I still deal with stupid drivers every day, so that's why every day I do my job. So. But anyway, let's just get to the video. Up for you? We'll only do like half of this. And the rest another day. I would do it all in one day, but goddamn, that's a long wait. My butt can only handle so much torture. Yeah, Mirror, the one on the upper right.
Ponies can
She actually has pink hair.
now?
Holly, at some point you're going to have to accept that this is how this world works.
Easy for you to say. Never mind
That's
that
magic,
part.
just don't question.
Athena, you're saying that Luna also wants what we
Besides, in your human world, you guys got
gets
magic
a
too.
non-guilty verdict.
Yeah. And that she thinks the true
our
culprit
human
is
world
either
does
fair
not have any
devotion
kind of magic
or
at all.
sugar stamp. Possibly both of them.
There's certainly
We think
strong
we have
evidence to
magic, but
suggest
we
at
do not.
least one was directly involved. But what do you think, Athena?
What do I think? Yesterday, I was still a bit uncertain. But after having that dream, I think I have a better idea. Nothing definitive, boss. But I think that this
I
trial
still think it's
will
not a
lead us
good
to
idea
the
for Luna to
answers
go into
we
other
need.
people's dreams. That's just gonna...
Still,
Not everybody has
Princess
normal
Luna believes
dreams.
sugar stamp or fair devotion are guilty, the defendant being Sweetie Belle puts her in a rather difficult situation. It
She's
sounds
probably
like
gonna be
she'll
proved
relying on
innocent,
us once
like
again to
always.
reveal Sweetie Belle's innocence.
And I still think that
Like she
one
did with turning
the
Paige
Pegasus
and Scootaloo.
betrayed the other lady
Yeah.
with her husband.
Though exactly how she plans on doing that, we don't know. It's probably best not to dwell on that for now. If last night's dream taught me anything, it's that we are on the same side. That's not all, though. After last night, something that Luna and Twilight said to each other at the start of yesterday's trial makes a lot more sense.
Kind of forgot what they were talking about. Oh, we're gonna do a flashback.
Twilight Sparkle. I heard that you would be assisting the defense today.
Heard? I think it's more likely that you found out during your nightly stroll. Am I right?
Is that why Twilight was up late the night before? Did Luna speak to her, like, with me? What for? And if so, why did Twilight feel the need to hide it?
So many secrets.
Not to mention, why would I have detected so much discord over such a small lie?
How has she not met Discord yet?
Forget it. I need to concentrate on this case, not this.
That'd be kind of
I can tell
entertaining.
you're a bit calmer today than you were yesterday. Here's hoping you could take that composure with you into the trial.
I hope so too, boss. But, actually... Hey, Twilight.
What is it, Athena?
We've been through a lot, haven't we?
Yes?
Kind of, sorta.
I've hurt you before because of a lot of my recent actions, and
Athena, you don't have to apologize again. I already told you. I understand, right?
When a guy apologizes,
I wasn't going to
that is
apologize again.
usually a genuine
Not
apology.
that I
so.
don't still feel ashamed of what I did.
We usually
but
just apologize once.
after
We don't
I
like
accused Zakora in the first
dragging
half
it
of
out.
yesterday's trial, you told me that even though I'd opened up some very old wounds, you'd stand with me in court. I really appreciated that. I didn't get a chance to tell you before, but after we heard yesterday what Mr. Wright did to get disbarred, and how he felt during that trial, I realized that doing everything on my own, or thinking I had to, that was what messed things up.
Finally
I was
raising
wrong.
up, eh?
But now I'm prepared to make up for it. And I wanted to, I guess, share the same sentiment you shared with me that day.
I know it's supposed to be like a video game of them looking at
You said you'd
us
stand
when
with
they're
me
really
no
looking at
matter what.
a thing, but
Well,
why couldn't they
I
just
want
have them
to
like
promise that
side
I'll
by
stand with
side
you
talking
in
to each other?
court,
Because
too.
it
Come
really
on,
looks like they're
right
just
now.
looking at us the
We'll
whole
face
time.
it together. That is, if you'll still stand with me today.
Do you even have to ask?
Well,
We could do a staring contest,
to
but
know.
I'd always win because you'll never see if I'm
Of course
blinking or
I'll
not.
stand with you, Athena. You're my friend, after all. And this time, I'm confident that we'll uncover the truth. Together.
together.
Hey, here comes Sweetie Belle.
Good morning, every pony. How are you?
We're doing all right.
Why doesn't have anything wrong with ropes or anything?
I guess I'm doing
Like a little
okay.
chain ball or whatever. Or handcuffs or something.
Are you sure?
That's usually what happens when you're in trouble in that court and stuff. They
It's just.
put the
Well,
cuffs around your legs so you don't run
I just
away.
expected you to be more nervous.
Oh! I mean, I am nervous, but not all that much. I know Athena and Twilight are going to do their best to defend me. And considering
Like I said, I'm pretty sure she was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Declared innocent? Well,
She probably saw something so
I don't
disturbing
know
she
what
wasn't
to
able
worry
to
about.
process it because she is a kid. Seeing a pony being decapitated right before her is probably disturbing as hell.
Thanks.
You say that, Sweetie Belle? And your heart's saying you believe that too. So maybe you aren't actually nervous. But
I remember seeing that
something tells me
first,
that's
dear
not because
carcass.
you
That
trust
was
Twilight and me.
Pardon
quite
me,
disturbing.
everybody.
Private Eye? What are you doing here?
What do you mean, what is he doing here? It's part of the damn
Did
trial.
Sykes not tell you?
No?
Strange. Well, I was tasked with coming here to help her with something.
Alright.
Help with something?
Private Eye, do you have what I asked for?
What you asked for?
Oh, the rest of his items. That one guy's
I
items.
confess, I'm not sure why you needed it. Nevertheless, here it is.
Is that
A potion?
blood?
Oh, blood.
A sample of
Yeah,
water.
doesn't really look
to be
like
more
blood.
specific.
Looks more like
Great.
one
And
soda
just to
or something.
confirm, you were able to obtain this secretly, correct?
Yes, but why was such secrecy necessary, Miss Sykes?
Whose blood is that?
You'll find out later.
And how did you get it secretly?
Thank you for this.
Wait for someone to fall asleep
I
and
see.
give them the kneel?
Very well then. I'm sure that you'll be able to put this to good use in today's trial.
Yeah,
Wait, if that was order of blood,
Private Eye.
shouldn't his
I know
his
so,
blood be
Sykes.
completely dissolved away
Critical
by now?
thinking is the key to
Because
success.
blood doesn't
after
last
all.
forever.
Just keep that in mind.
Especially on the corpse.
And I believe you'll have nothing to worry about.
I will. And I'll do my best to see through everything
Also, if
today.
it's a clone,
Detective.
it should not be able to
Of
bleed.
course.
Like in Naruto, if you defeat a clone, it
I had best
disappears.
return to my duties. Take care.
And in this show, when Pinkie Pie's clones were defeated, they disintegrated.
Right?
Yes, that would be for the best. You go on in, Sweetie Belle. We'll meet you inside shortly.
Okay. See you guys soon.
Okay. I know you guys have some questions.
Yeah.
When did you ask Private Eye to get you that sample? It couldn't have been this morning.
Well, I didn't ask him. Sonata did.
Sonata?
After Luna visited me in my dream, I couldn't fall asleep afterwards. I had this feeling.
Oh, that's what you
I
were
needed to
doing.
follow up on a few
That's the
things,
final part of the episode.
But I obviously couldn't do it on my own, so I decided to leave the castle for a bit and go to Sonata for help. She was happy to assist. That's when I asked her to get Private Eye to obtain this blood sample. That wasn't all, though. Apollo, do you remember that photo you shared with us yesterday? The one with the blood on the trees?
Yeah. Did you ask
Looks like
Sonata for
someone
help with that?
put it there.
Yep. I asked if she could find out whose blood that was. Chances are it's the victim's. But it doesn't hurt to check. And there were two other things I needed her to look into.
2 more things?
The source of the anonymous tip, and the location of the remaining suit of armor. The one belonging to the victim that died at the statue. Sonata should be out investigating those things right now. Hopefully, she'll be able to get back to us with her findings soon.
Alright.
Excellent work, Athena. I'm glad you're keeping on top of things.
Good for you, I guess.
Boss. Thanks.
But
Kissing
why
up
did
to
you
your
ask her to
coworker.
do all of that?
It has to do with something I thought of yesterday, after I had my dream. It's nothing definitive, to be honest, and I might be way off the mark here, but I have a hunch that this blood sample, along with finding out those two things, will be crucial. Not
Did
just for
you
landing
get the
a not
test
guilty
on the
verdict
blood?
for
Make sure it's
Sweetie
exactly
but
there?
also for
Or
figuring
what?
out the truth behind this whole messy case.
I see.
I know, Twilight. I wish I could tell you something more definitive, but it's going to depend on how the trial goes from here on. I know I'm asking a lot, but can you trust
You're
me on
still
this?
kind of going solo on this.
Yes, I can, Athena. If you say you think this will help, then I think so too.
Thank you, Twilight.
If I may have your attention, the trial is about to begin. Counsel for the defense, please enter the courtroom at this time.
You can't tell me what
That's
to
as good a
do.
sign as any, I suppose. Let's get going, Twilight.
Yep, let's.
Good luck, you two.
Not that you'll need it, I'm sure.
Together, you're sure to succeed.
We're screwed. Come on. Back at the courtroom that's unusually bright. And colorful.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Sweetie Belle. Are the prosecution
All right,
and defense
Goldilocks.
ready?
The prosecution is indeed ready, Your Honor.
The defense is also ready, Your Honor. And there's Prosecutor Luna again. It's strange. Even though
Well,
I
yeah,
know
she's
her
always
role in
there.
all this, I still can't escape this feeling
For
of
all damn
intimidation. I guess it comes with being one of Equestria's rulers. But
She
like
is
Twilight,
not a
I'm
ruler.
also worried about what she has
The
planned.
show has proven plenty times over.
I know
She's
we're on the
just
same side.
despair.
But that doesn't mean I know exactly how she intends to set Sweetie Belle free.
Yesterday, I expressed sorrow at the fact that more children were involved with this case. To think, we must add yet another to it. The day exacts a heavy toll on us all.
In the human world, that would make more sense. Make sense for
Nevertheless,
blaming kids.
I
Some
will
kids are told
reiterate my
nightmares.
position as a
Psychopaths.
neutral judge presiding over this trial. Prosecutor Luna, you may begin with your opening statement.
You don't know what kid
please.
is completely
Of
mentally
course, Your
unstable.
Honor. I would like to first begin by recontextualizing the entire case. Yesterday's trial,
If you must.
thanks in large part to the efforts of the defense, revealed several key facts. One was that on the night of Royal Order's murder, there was not just one victim, but in fact, two. The original Royal Order and his clone. The defense postulated that one of them was killed at a clearing in the middle of the Everfree Forest and was subsequently brought to the bridge. The second one was killed at the Nightmare Moon
When
statue
a clone dies,
before being
it
eaten
freaking
by timberwolves.
disappears.
This trial will provide us insight to the truth behind that second death.
Unless this is a
The
special
blood
type
test
of
that
clone.
Miss Sonata and Detective Private Eye
Or his twin
submitted
brother.
yesterday proved the statue area bore two ponies' blood. One was Royal Order,
What a twist.
but the other was the accused, Miss Sweetie Belle. The prosecution believes she was involved in the second Royal Order's death. Her blood found at the scene confirms this.
How do you know she was in the wrong
It
place at
doesn't
the wrong
confirm she
goddamn time?
actually killed him, though. Only that she was there at the scene when he died. That's what we learned at the detention center. Where is Luna going with this? If this was all she had, surely she wouldn't call for this trial if she believed Sweetie was innocent. What's forcing her hoof?
I see.
Oh, she said it.
Prosecutor Luna, do you mean to tell the court that you believe the defendant, Miss Sweetie Belle, murdered Royal Order?
For what reason?
Your Honor.
Not quite. What do you mean?
To explain that, Your Honor, the prosecution would like to have Private Eye briefly come to the stand.
Private Eye? Why does she need him?
Very well. The court grants this request.
Detective I, please explain to the court how Royal Order was killed at the statue.
At once, Your Highness.
Do you know
While
what's so
there are
100%
still
sure?
some facts left shrouded in mystery, our current theory attempts to explain the events of that night, at that particular scene. The victim and defendant were at the statue. Some sort of altercation must have occurred, after which Miss Sweetiebelle was forced to act.
Forced to act?
We believe
She's a
that Royal
frickin'
Order
child.
attempted to attack
I don't
Miss
think
Sweetiebelle.
unicorns have that much power when
However,
they're that tiny.
She must have done something in response, which would have led to how he died. Impalement at the statue's base.
He has to know exactly what happened, but I guess they'll figure that out later on. More likely, a Timberwolf knocks
Do
him
you
into
mean
the air
to
and causes
say
him to
that
get
the
impaled.
defendant pushed the victim herself?
Not at all, my lord. Miss Sweetiebelle is a filly, and much smaller than the victim.
Yeah.
She would not have been able to push him on her own.
Then, how do you propose he ended up impaled?
We believe it was because the victim was suffering from weak knees, due to the effect of Poison Joke. When Royal Order attacked Miss Sweetiebelle,
Do you know that's
he
how
must
it
have
affects
instinctively
him?
dove
Have
for
you
his
ever
hooves
tested how it
in an
affects him?
attempt to trip him.
Affects every pony
He
different.
would have naturally stumbled forward, resulting in impalement.
Your Honor, it is this theory that the prosecution will pursue in today's trial. As Detective I has now revealed, while Miss Sweetiebelle was indeed involved in Royal Order's death,
He doesn't let
we
me
do
shirt.
not believe she intentionally murdered him.
Figured
Rather,
where-
we
yeah,
believe this
that's
to
the
be
red
a
one
tragic
for
case
the
of an
holidays.
accidental killing. She did intentionally trip him, but she did not mean to impale him.
What?
Yeah, but what is the goddamn motive?
Prosecutor Luna! How can you make that kind of claim? That is conjecture at best.
Miss Sykes, are you saying you do not believe Miss Sweetiebelle was responsible?
Of course we are! The defense argues Sweetiebelle wasn't involved in Royal Order's death in the slightest. Right, Sweetiebelle?
Well,
What? Sweetiebelle, come on! Tell the court your side of the story.
this is why you don't allow kids in court.
Sweetie Belle? Why aren't you answering?
I believe I can explain that, Princess Twilight. You see, ever since yesterday evening, Miss Sweetiebelle has decided to exercise her right to remain silent.
Why?
Right?
You promised.
You mean she's acknowledging that?
No, I won't accept that.
You
It's
promised
not true.
her, Athena.
I know it isn't.
Come on.
As resolved as you are, you will need more than mere protest, Golden Pixie.
Oh boy. I totally missed hearing that. So
Still, that's
silence
not
again,
fair.
huh?
She promised Athena she
Is
would
this another
say
thing
something.
Luna set up?
Help out.
Or
What the hell?
maybe someone else?
The defense does bring up a fair point, Prosecutor Luna. Though it is an intriguing theory, it is still just that. A theory.
We are aware of that, Your Honor. That is why, in order to substantiate this theory, the prosecution would now like to call 2 witnesses to the stand. Witnesses who claim to have seen this unfortunate accident occur right before their very eyes.
2 witnesses? Again? We've just
Let
started.
me guess.
Already
It's
blindsided.
the mother and her Pegasus
Don't
friend.
let it get to you, Athena.
Huh?
Remember what
Actually,
you said
that'd be a
earlier.
bad idea.
Princess
If I
Luna
found
is
right.
on our side.
What? The Pegasus
If
one who
she's making
betrayed
this
her
particular
friend
accusation,
but banging
it's
her
because
husband.
she
She's
expects
gonna
us to be
strangle
able
the
to show
hell
it
out of
doesn't
her.
hold up to scrutiny. That means we just have to steady ourselves and keep pressing on.
Yeah, at least it'll make court interesting.
Right.
Very well then. Detective, you may leave the stand. The court will now hear from the prosecution's 2 witnesses.
If you knew this happened, why didn't you two
Witnesses,
speak up in the first goddamn
state
place
your
when
names
the
and
children were
occupations
being
for the
accused
court
of murder? What the hell?
Sugar stamp at your service, Your Highness.
I still think
I'm
you
a
banged
male
her
pony working for
husband
the
and
Crown
she's
Courier
gonna.
Express.
She's a strangling
Wait,
lady.
She's a male pony?
No, Your Honor.
Yeah, male.
She's like a
carrier.
mail carrier. You know? Letters.
Oh, right.
Apparently nowadays there's
And your
transgenders
name,
everywhere.
witness?
That's why dating is not
I'm
worth
Fair
it anymore.
Devotion. I'm a substitute teacher at Ponyville Elementary.
And as I
I think I
understand
know that
it,
red
the
shirt pony in the
deceased's
back.
wife?
The Wilson eater?
Yes, that is correct.
My condolences, Miss Fair Devotion. I understand that this is a trying time for you.
Okay.
You'd think she'd express more visible sorrow at that, but her voice is crying out in anguish. That's unmistakable. Just like I thought.
Witnesses, are you prepared to testify as to what the both of you saw that night?
They're probably gonna lie a little.
Yes, we are.
Why is she
Very well.
allowed a weapon?
Please begin your testimony.
In all courts, you're not allowed weapons at all. Unless she's kind of blind.
That night, I happened to be watching the scene from above. The sound of fighting drew me in.
I was searching for my husband when I also heard something that sounded like fighting and went to investigate.
What I saw, it was horrible! That little filly had tripped Royal Order, and when he landed, the statue base impaled him! She ran off in a panic afterwards.
Why do I feel like she's
Only I'd
lying?
gone after him sooner, instead of waiting behind like he'd asked me to. Then I could have stopped this from happening.
So you two saw the grisly scene unfold before your very eyes?
Yes, I
Did
can
she
still see
actually
him
want
lying
her
there,
husband to die so she can
lifeless.
hang out with or be with her
I'm
friend?
sorry, Your Honor. I'd rather not think much about it.
That actually would make a lot more
I
sense if you
can't
think
believe
about
it
it. Because those two
either.
are supposed to be
Royal
best
Order
friends.
seems so full of life. I never thought I'd have to live on without him.
I'm
In
more
any
worried about
case,
Attorney
I
Pig
believe
because
now is the time
if
for the
Fred's
defense
mother's
to
proven
begin
to
their
be guilty,
cross-examination.
where the heck is he gonna go?
Miss Sykes, you may proceed.
You got it, Your Honor. I wasn't expecting things to go exactly like this. But now they're both here. Time to tear down this lie and see what they're really hiding.
Oh boy, let's see if my two theories are correct or not. Either she banged him, or she just wanted him out of the picture so she could be with her bestie.
That night, I happened to be watching the scene from above. The sound of fighting drew me in.
Where exactly were you both watching from?
Well, I was in the treetop. First for something else, and I heard the commotion as I was flying towards Ponyville.
As for myself, I was standing out of the way, somewhere in the woods where I could watch what happened unseen.
Miss Devotion, where were you before you arrived at the statue area?
The crossroads. I'd gone searching for my husband, and so naturally I followed the path from the entrance. I noticed a blood trail leading down the path towards the statue when I got to the crossroads. I followed it.
What's going on here? Having a little stroke, something?
It would have
Yeah,
been
there we
around 10:30, give or take.
Yeah. Same for me, I think.
Could you describe what you did next?
They're lucky to remember the time. I would not.
I was searching for my husband when I also heard something that sounded like fighting, and went to investigate.
I'm a little
Did
distracted by
either
that
of you
earphone
know that
phone.
the
He's
other
like,
was in
"Take
the
those
woods
off,
at the
you're in
same
court."
time?
No, not in the slightest. I wasn't aware Sugar Stamp had been nearby until later, when I went to give my statement to the police.
I didn't see Diva
I am very
all that
uncomfortable
night
how
either.
she has that metal
Miss
stick in her.
Devotion,
in her
why were
magic.
you drawn to the sands of fighting in the first place?
Looks like she's gonna whack
Weren't you
someone with it.
concerned about getting hurt?
My husband was a member of the Royal Guard. He'd gone into the woods alone, knowing that it was filled with dangerous creatures. The chances of him running into one of those things and having to fight it were high. And from what I heard of that scuffle, one of the ponies involved was most definitely Royal Order. Not to mention, I had already found blood. I believe now you can see why I was more concerned with that than my own safety.
Yeah, I guess I can. It wouldn't surprise me to know that even from a distance, Fair could detect her husband's voice.
Still be a lot more things to
Continue
answer.
with your testimony, witnesses.
What I saw, oh, it was horrible! That little filly had tripped Royal Order, and when he landed, the statue base impaled him! She ran off in a panic afterwards.
I still feel like she's lying.
So you're saying that it was because of Sweetie Belle tripping him that Royal Order was impaled?
Yes! As horrific as it is to admit, that's exactly what I saw.
So that explains how he was impaled. But what about where?
Where?
If you were there and saw the exact moment the impalement occurred, you should be able to tell us
Oh,
where the
you try
victim
to
was
catch her in a
impaled.
lie. Good idea.
How strange. I don't really remember. Was it through his body, or...
Hang on! Fair devotion?
What is it, Miss Sykes?
It looked like something occurred to you just now, after Sugarstamp said she couldn't remember where Royal Order was impaled. Did you have something to add?
Something like that. I remembered how my husband fell.
How your husband fell? Could you explain?
From what I recall, he fell face first into the base of the statue.
What?
That's right! That's what I saw too!
And that means...
Royal Order was impaled directly through his jaw.
What?
That certainly matches up with what Private Eye laid out earlier.
Huh.
Yeah, it does. Rather cleanly, I might add. But what Fair just did? Not saying where he was impaled, but letting Sugarstamp point it out? It's exactly what Luna was doing with me in the last trial. She's leading her! Which means...
Witness, please continue your testimony.
They might be working together.
If
those
only
two.
I'd gone after
My
him
theory might be
sooner,
right on that
instead
one.
of waiting behind like he'd asked me to. Then I could have stopped this from happening.
Fair devotion, I want to clarify something. The reason you went into the woods was to chase after your husband after he'd gone to look for your son?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Here's
Why?
where it all begins to make sense.
He said
If
he's
what
gonna
I'm
get
thinking
back,
is true,
or what would
the
you
discord
so
in their
concerned to
voices
go
will
look
tell
for
me
him after
everything I need to
dangerous
know.
He's a freaking guard. You're not.
Really? Somehow, I find it hard to believe that was the only reason.
What are you talking about?
I am also curious, defense. Surely you don't think the witness is lying about wanting to go after her husband?
Perhaps lying is putting it too strongly, but I have reason to believe that Fair Devotion went into the woods for a reason beyond what she's told the court. And it has to do with this piece of evidence. Take that!
That's a travel case, isn't it?
Yes. This travel case belonged to Royal Order, Your Honor. He'd take it with him when he had to make trips to Canterlot, which was quite frequently. But it's not the case itself that the court should be interested in. It's what we found inside.
Oh yeah, that
And
letter.
what did you find inside?
There are 2 items of note. The first is this planner. It belonged to Royal Order and details his movements up until the day he died. The second is this. A love letter to Royal Order, written not by his wife, Fair Devotion, but by another pony, Sugarstamp.
Sugarstamp?
Suspense. I'd be scared for her because she has the metal stick. She could whack the crap
Order in
out
the
of her.
court! Miss Sykes, are you implying that the victim, Royal Order, was having an illicit affair with one of these
You
witnesses?
saw the goddamn
I
paper
don't
she
need to
showed you.
imply anything, Your Honor. It states so in the letter.
Yes, I can see that.
Sugarstamp, is this true? Did you write this letter?
Diva?
I can't believe it! After all I've done for you!
Where did you
You
get her
turn
with
around
that?
and stab me in the back like this? I loved my husband.
Loved? As if! You were never happy with him being a royal guard! You hated how he was always working, always leaving you home alone!
That was because I thought he was spending all of his time working, not being with you.
Well, what can I say? He loved me, and I loved him. The heart wants what it wants.
You should not be talking like that when she
Miss
has that
Devotion is
stick
going
right
to tear hers out.
within hitting distance.
Is something up, Athena?
Maybe. Twilight, do the two of them sound a little off to you?
Off? Not really.
Oh, they might be role playing.
I'd expected them to be surprised.
Might be
Especially since
pretending,
Fair
or I should
outright
say.
denied the possibility of an affair yesterday, and Sugar probably didn't think Royal would be holding on to that letter. Why do you ask? Did you notice something?
I think so. Interesting. They act surprised and angry, but I'm not hearing any actual shock or rage in their voices. If that's true, then
They're working
I'm
together.
almost
I knew it.
certain I know the reason why.
Not to mention...
Witnesses! You will calm yourselves or be escorted from the courtroom!
Yeah, quit horsing
Prosecutor
around.
Luna, what are your thoughts regarding this unexpected development?
It's hardly unexpected, Your Honor. We too had examined the travel case in question and found the letter the defense presented.
She must
As
have placed
such,
it in there on
I
purpose.
am more intrigued than surprised by what this opens up.
What do you mean, Prosecutor Luna?
As the defense said, the planner belonged to the victim and details his movements up until he died. I suggest you read the entry for the 12th.
On the 12th?
Was it
Let's
4?
see here. February 12th. Locate mirror pool. Perform cloning spell. Oh, my word! The mirror pool! That must mean...
Your Honor, yesterday we established that there were 2 versions of the victim on the night of the murder
Yeah, but
thanks
this
to that mirror
contradicts
pool.
the whole show.
It was initially believed he
clone,
made
when it
2 of
dies,
himself to
it
seek out
gets
his son.
hates.
But with the details of this planner
Doesn't
now
bleed,
on
it
display,
has no organs.
another
It's just
alarming
made of
motive
pure magic.
emerges. Royal Order cloned himself so that one version could stay with his wife, Fair Devotion, and the second could be with his other partner, Sugar Stamp.
Indeed. That would appear to be the most
Yeah, but
logical
there'll
explanation
be
for this entry.
problems with that.
But that's not all that's revealed by this, Your Honor.
There's more?
This affair casts a shadow over some of what we already heard from these 2 witnesses, namely, why Fair Devotion followed her husband.
We are really
As the
skipping
defense
the
pointed
whole
out,
Sugar Bell
Fair could have had an
murder
ulterior
thing.
motive, one involving the context of this affair, and that could change an aspect of this trial. Wouldn't you agree, Miss Sykes? For that is what you are arguing, isn't it? Miss Sykes?
Athena?
I know what you're trying to hint at, Prosecutor Luna, and I'm sure you mean well, but I'm afraid I can't follow that path.
Defense? I believe some confirmation is in order as to your stance.
No, Your Honor. I don't believe we need to confirm anything just yet. Or at least, not this.
You don't?
What?
Instead, I'd like to focus on another aspect of the planner.
Alright.
Another aspect?
Your Honor, if you look at the planner, you'll see that there are actually 2 entries on the 12th. You've already read the first. What does the second one say?
The second? Meet Sugar Stamp at Everfree Forest Clearing, 10:10 p.m.
Okay.
As you will recall from their testimony, Fair Devotion and Sugar Stamp arrived at the statue around 10:30. This means that the scheduled meeting with Royal Order would have occurred 20 minutes prior.
Yes, I can see that, Miss Sykes. But why does that matter?
Because they lied.
It matters because in that time frame, Sugar Stamp was not watching the scene as she previously testified. Instead, she was elsewhere. Namely, waiting at the clearing to meet with Royal Order.
Oh,
Rude.
you're right.
Your Honor, it's important that we account for every witness's movements that night. As such, The defense formally asked to hear further testimony from Sugar Stamp.
What?
Catch her in her
Golden
life.
Pixie! Just what are you up to? Sugar Stamp's meeting with Royal Order is irrelevant.
Unfortunately, Prosecutor Luna, that is something neither
Violet Luna
you
is shocked.
nor I can decide. Not without hearing her testify once again. I know I shouldn't take too much satisfaction in throwing Luna a curveball, but can I help but feel a little smug? More than that,
Yep,
though,
you deserve it.
I think we will find that what she has to say is relevant, due to what she confessed to us in the detention center yesterday.
She confessed? To what?
You don't mean...
Your Honor, we can't forget that on the night in question, there were 2 royal orders and that both of them died.
Oh, and she
While
said
this
she
initial
killed one.
testimony attempted to shed light on one of those deaths, what Sugar Stamp told us reveals what happened to the other. Namely, that he was killed by Sugar Stamp herself.
Order! Order in the court! Incredible!
Advertisements can get off
If this is
proven
true,
denial on here.
then I can think of no reason not to permit further testimony.
Athena, where are you going with this? How is Sugar Stamp's story going to help us defend Sweetie Belle?
Trust me, Twilight. This will likely be very important for us to hear. Once we get the full story, I think we'll start seeing this case in a whole new light.
Oh, okay, Athena. If you're that certain about this, I'll stand by you.
The court accepts the defense's proposal. Miss Sugarstamp,
Yes, Your Honor?
you will now testify to the court
Yeah,
as
she's
to your
not happy
actions
about
that
it.
night
Good.
prior to you running into the
Her
defendant.
devotion is not happy.
Okay.
She knows her friend is going to spill the beans, and she's not going to be happy about it. Someone take that goddamn middle stick from her.
I went to meet Royal Order at the time we agreed on, 10:10 p.m. We talked for a little bit, and he told me his plan of leaving me with a clone of himself. But when I heard that, I couldn't think. I killed him, then and there, using a letter opener that I carried with me. After he was dead, I removed his armor, then decided to carry the body to the castle ruins by flying it there. Then I flew out of the forest. While flying over the crossroads, I saw Scootaloo crash into the other Royal Order. After she left, I moved the scooter and wagon to further shift the blame.
Huh. Okay.
And this is what you confessed to yesterday, then?
Yes, Your Honor. Every last bit of it.
I feel like
I
that might be a
see.
lie.
Defense, you may begin your cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Time to finally put this confession to bed.
Come on. It's all like that brown pony with a white face.
I went to meet Royal Order at the time we agreed on, 10:10 p.m. We talked for a little bit, and he told me his plan of leaving me with a clone of himself.
Did you have any idea what Royal Order wanted to talk to you about before you went to this meeting?
A little bit. He told me he had an idea as to how we could be together.
But you didn't know it would involve clones, right?
No, of course not! I wasn't even sure that clones could exist! I thought for sure he'd choose the easier option and stay with me! Oh, I was so
But I feel like
mad!
those two, that Sugar
So
Stamp
you
and
say.
Fair Devotion should really be
Your heart
split
on the
up, like
other
even
hand.
like probably 20 to 50
Before you
feet
met up
from
with
each other.
Royal Order,
Just
did you happen to
saying.
see any pony else in the forest?
Well, I did see the children while I was flying from
You
the
like
direction
totally
of the
see Fair
castle to the
Devotion
clearing.
whacking her with that.
The children? Oh, you mean Scootaloo and Turning Page?
Yeah, and also those 2 other fillies, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. They looked like they were talking about something really important.
Around what time did you see them?
10 p.m. It was just before I had landed at the clearing.
She must have seen the blackmail negotiations before they'd gone downhill. Sugar Stamp?
Yes, Princess Twilight?
After you saw the children, did you see any pony else before you landed at the clearing?
No, not until Royal Order arrived.
We know already of why she met with him, so questioning it further won't get us anywhere. Witness, continue your testimony.
Surprised they have good memory.
But when I heard that, I couldn't think. I killed him, then and there, using a letter opener that I carried with me.
If she really loved her husband, fair devotion, she would be.
How long after you met and talked with Royal Order did you supposedly kill him?
I would say about 5 minutes after, so around 10:15 p.m.
And how did you kill him exactly? Was it just with a single strike?
No. First I kicked him in the side to get him off balance.
You kicked him? While he was fully armored?
Yes. I had to really put my back into it just to stagger him. It made an awful, loud, metallic sound.
That was
a loud, metallic sound. Like a clang?
Yes! That's a good word to describe it. I'd give you candy for that answer, but... Oh. I don't have any on me.
It's alright, Miss Stamp. Could you tell us what happened next?
Kids' candy's not always a good idea.
I had to act quickly before he could recover. So I stabbed him with the letter opener through his right temple. It killed him.
Again, his
instantly.
wife is right there. If she really loved her
that
husband,
lines up
she
with
would
the
be
autopsy
beating
report's
him
initial
with a
findings,
arm with
but
that stick, whereas-
how do you explain the other stab wounds found around the same area on his head?
The other stab wounds?
The autopsy report states that along with the lethal stab wound to the right temple, several post-mortem stab wounds were found in the same location. Miss Stamp, did you stab the victim again after he was already dead?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Good grief! But why would you do such a thing? Were you really that angry with him?
I believe I might know why, Your Honor.
You do, Miss Devotion?
Indeed, though it is a bit grisly.
To make sure he's
Sugar
dead?
Stamp.
Yes, Diva?
You testified that you decided to move the body after you'd killed Royal Order, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But secretly moving a body that was bleeding from a head wound would have been difficult. You'd have a trail leaking from him constantly. Hence, why you need to stab him again.
Yes, that's right.
Can you run that by me again?
He's kind of playing her.
It's true. I did stab him again after he died, but I only realized he was still bleeding after I got rid of his armor.
Don't explain what a treason
I
has
had
so much
removed
blood
the blade to throw it all into the river, you see, and when I came back to the clearing, a pool of blood had collected on the ground.
Why is the wife helping?
So,
I
tried to stick the letter opener into the
Any
first
sane
wound like a
person,
plug.
if a
It
wife
was my
found out her
best bet
friend
at
murdered her
stopping the
husband,
bleeding
she'd
so I
be
could move
beating
the
the
body.
crap out
And
of
it worked.
And that's her way of explaining those irregularities in the victim's wound that Luna mentioned.
At any rate, I think we've settled that matter. Let's move on. Witness, describe to the court what you did next.
After he was dead, I removed his armor, then decided to carry the body to the castle ruins by flying it there. Then I flew out of the forest.
So after you stabbed the victim, you decided to toss the armor in the river, then move the body by flying it away. Did you see any pony else while you were flying?
That's how Clooney works. Like
Any
I said,
pony
wouldn't they make like
else?
$1 billion of those armor?
Yes, actually. I saw two ponies very clearly. They were actually heading towards each other, though I'm not sure if they knew it.
Who were they?
The first was Sakura. She was coming from her hut, I remember. And the other was Turning Page. He'd been coming from the castle.
And that was it? You only saw those two? No pony else?
No pony else.
That lines up with what we've already established. Scootaloo would have already passed by the clearing at this point, so Sugar wouldn't have seen her.
Right. And Turning, since he was coming from the castle, would have left there long before Sugar Stamp dropped off Royal Order's body.
And as Turning Page said in the previous trial, he was the shadow that Zecora saw on her way to the castle. Sugar Stamp's story confirms that, too. I'm not sensing any contradictions in her words just yet, Athena. So far, her actions make sense. Or at least can be explained.
Yeah. We'd better move
I'm
on
still
then.
disturbed that the background
Before
ponies
you
are
reached
just
the
not
castle
blinking
ruins,
their eyes at
did
all.
you stop off anywhere?
No, I didn't.
Really? Not even at a certain zebra's hut in order to deliver a certain letter?
Letter?
I believe the defense is referring to this one, witness. Obviously, the contents of the letter cannot be revealed to the court, but the envelope in which it was delivered should suffice. I would like to resubmit it to the court record, Your Honor.
The court accepts it into evidence.
Oh, that letter! It slipped my mind until just now.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
you're
every pony.
getting caught in your lies.
So that means you admit to stopping off at Zecora's at some point in order to drop off this letter?
Yes, that's correct.
And when did you make that stop then?
It was after I'd placed the body at the ruins. That's also when I removed the letter opener and put it back in my bag. After that, I went to deliver the letter.
I see. Could you add that to the end of your testimony for me, please?
Oh, sure.
Let's move
Remember
on. Witness, you moved the body and delivered the letter. Did you mean to leave the forest afterwards?
Yes, I did, but... While flying over the crossroads, I saw Scootaloo crash into the other Royal Order. After she left, I moved the scooter and wagon to further shift the blame.
But why, though? Why go so far to pin the blame on Scootaloo?
Yeah.
To be honest, Sugar Stamp, even after everything you told us, I still find it hard to believe that you'd go that far. I mean, I thought you loved kids. I
Yeah.
don't think you'd do something like that to any pony, let alone Scootaloo.
It doesn't matter what you think. I did it, and I confessed, and that's that.
Then,
She's
why did you decide to
doing
move
it
the
for a
body and
friend,
scooter to the castle
or
ruins in
take
the
the blame
first
for a friend.
place?
It was because of what I saw before I met with Royal Order. The children talking.
The blackmail deal.
Knowing that Turning Page and his friend had been at the castle ruins, I knew I could pin the murder on them and make the ruins look like the real murder scene. It's what Royal Order deserved after what he did to me.
But...
Defense. While I appreciate your habit of needling into every single minor point in each testimony,
That's
my
her
patience
freaking
beginning to
job.
wear thin. Besides, the witness has already provided a reason for what she did. To get back at Royal Order for choosing to clone himself instead of being with her. As disconcerting as that may sound, that is the motive we have been given. Unless you can offer something to refute or change it, I suggest you move on.
Fine. I just have one more question, Sugar Stamp.
What is it?
After you'd moved the scooter and wagon to the castle ruins, you must have flown back towards the forest entrance, passing over the crossroads along the way. But the other Royal Order wasn't there, right?
No, he wasn't. I went to look for him, and that was when I saw what happened.
I'm gonna pause here and finish it up the next day. So, I think the court's been very interesting. I still think these two are lying. So, it's gonna be interesting to find out what exactly happened. I would finish it up, but I didn't zip all the way through to get rid of all the advertisements. If you haven't noticed, those goddamn advertisements keep freaking showing up. Yeah. But anyway, hope you guys liked the reaction. Have a nice day.